Previous parts links are in the description, check them out. Now let's continue My Chubby Princess Part 4. Every time the prince tried to talk to Miss Washwong, Ian would pour him another drink so that he could avoid any conversation between the two of them. The prince has no plans to stop himself, as he kept on drinking every drink poured on him by Ian. Eventually getting drunk after 2 hours, the prince was so drunk that he couldn't even speak. Suddenly he stood up in his state and started dancing with Ian, even though Ian was asking for help. Miss Washwong couldn't stop laughing until one of the prince's men confronted them. He couldn't believe that the lord was in such a drunken condition. He stared at Miss Washwong as if all of this were her fault, but she disagreed and said that she didn't force the prince to do anything and that he did it all by himself. He took the prince out of everyone else's view, as his state was shameful and it was not suitable for a prince to be presented in such a state. Miss Washwong simultaneously got up and took Ian with her, who was also drunk enough to not walk by himself. As they were sitting in their vehicle, Ian leaned on Miss Washwong in happiness at winning his duel against the lord. Both of them reached back to Pearl Garden, where Maxwell and his dragon were waiting for them patiently. The dragon couldn't believe who this lady in front of him was and started praising her beauty by complimenting her bright eyes, white teeth, and fair skin. Miss Washwong held him back from talking and called him a bug. She also asked how he learned such glowing cliches. The dragon was at first a bit angry, but he was going to curse her back. Maxwell gave him a very scary look, making him speechless and silent. The dragon this time was not angry at all, even though Miss Washwong called him a bug. Miss Washwong told him to stay away from her, as the dragon was the same person who used to call her an ugly woman. Maxwell pulled the dragon back into his ring as he told the dragon that he couldn't even praise properly yet. He told her that the dragon must reflect on the way he talks. Without wasting any more time, she asks him to give her the 100 stones he promised her for not drinking with the prince. Maxwell asked her to come closer, and as she came closer, he held her by her waist and pulled her closer. He told her that he has to deodorize other men off her. Miss Washwong was a bit confused as she asked if he was talking about her brother. She asked him if he was jealous of her brother, to which Maxwell replied that she was not allowed to have physical contact with any man, irrespective of who he is or what relationship he has with her. As both of them were about to get closer to each other, one of the informers arrived, leaving both of them feeling a bit awkward. The messenger told both of them that Mr. Eden Moo is here. Eden Moo is Miss Washwong's shameless and unlucky uncle. Miss Washwong wondered why he would come here. Is he here now because he has realized that Ian has recovered? She asked Maxwell for his opinion, and she decided to meet her family after Maxwell told her that she can do whatever she wants and it is her choice. On the other hand, as the Moo family was waiting, they started demeaning them for making the guest wait. Cherry Moo's twin sister Aaliyah Moo was showing her temper. She asked who the regent was and said she would show her power to the crippled regent. Mrs. Zhang told her to calm down and that she could do anything she wanted after they had taken the 2 billion Taiwan dollars that Miss Washwong had won. Miss Washwong and Maxwell entered through the huge gate, and Aaliyah was flattened by the regent's breathtaking appearance. Both my uncle and Mrs. Zhang were completely shocked to see the transformation Miss Washwong has undergone. They remembered her as being ugly, fat, and disturbing. Mrs. Zhang wondered how she had turned into such a beautiful lady even after the daily dose of fat maker medicine she fed her. All of the members of the Moo family greeted the regent. Miss Washwong asked them what the reason for their appearance was, as they had already disowned her and Ian Moo. Uncle confessed that it was his mistake, and it was all because of his concubine, who sowed discord within the Moo family against Miss Washwong. She also made them believe that Miss Washwong had betrayed the country. Uncle also presented Miss Washwong with a written letter from the concubine, in which she confessed that he had flogged her to death. Buck passing was common in ancient times as well as in modern times. She wondered what kind of man her uncle is who even sold out his women for wealth. Uncle told her that he has realized his own mistake and is here to take back Miss Washwong and Ian, as the mansion is almost repaired now. Miss Washwong already knew that the moment she went back with them to the mansion, they would kill her. She sharply told them that she knew they were not here for her but for the 2 billion tea leaves she had won. She refused to go back with them to their mansion, but she could send them back to their home. She pushed her uncle back as she said all of this to the Moo family. As she started pushing all of them out of their house one by one of them kneeled in front of the regent, and she told him that he must not be fooled by Miss Washwong, as she has always been obsessed with the 4 lords, and as long as the 4 princes hook their fingers on her, she will immediately leave him. She also told him that the 4th prince had also asked her to go mountain climbing tomorrow. Miss Washwang immediately got rid of all of them and kicked them out of the mansion. Uncle exclaimed and cursed Miss Washwang for acting so rudely with her. She doesn't know good or bad, and now she will have to go through consequences as there are more people above him. Miss Washwang turned around to find that the regent was really in a bad mood, and she asked him what happened to him. Maxwell asked her if the fourth prince had asked her to go mountain climbing, but Miss Washwang laughed it off as she denied it and told him that the fourth prince is too ugly. She made funny faces in front of Maxwell to make his mood light and happy again. Another messenger arrived, and he informed both of them that the imperial decree and the Hu mansion have been repaired. Miss Washwang couldn't comprehend how the Hu mansion was repaired so quickly because, from what she can remember, the butler she sent to the Hu mansion said that it would take a few days. Miss Washwang asked Maxwell if he knew anything, and Maxwell told her that Juxianzhuang backstage is most likely the second prince. She wonders if the prince paid the Hu family to build the mansion overnight and if they have pulled off another trick to prevent Miss Washwang from coming out of the mansion without her life. Maxwell relieved her by saying that he won't let anyone do such a thing to her, and that no one will hurt her. Miss Washwang told Maxwell not to worry as she is not a person someone can easily bully as she left her mansion for the Hu mansion. Miss Washwang reached the Hu mansion with many people, including her brother Ian. She asked if her 2 billion gold pieces were ready but were rudely told by the guard outside the mansion to go away and not cause more problems for them. The guard further told her that he doesn't care about her rights and that she shouldn't get in the Hu family's way, as the second prince's mansion works for Wang too. Miss Washwang was as sharp with her words as she could be. She told him that they must not do any dirty work under the name of power, and also that they are shameless and petty. Everyone in the crowd, the ones who came with Miss Washwang to support her, started shouting outside the gate to return the money to her, as she deserves it and it's her hard-earned money. The crowd started gossiping about the second prince, saying that he looked generous, but at a critical time like this, he wasn't even doing anything. Listening to all these slogans and the people shouting, he finally came out of the mansion. He asked one of his men to return the 20 million yuan to Mu Washwang. He told Miss Washwang that her siblings haven't been alive for long and it was inconvenient to deal with her. He further told her that he would send her back to the west once he returned to the Hu mansion today. Miss Washwang instantly inquired about the meaning of returning only the principal money, as she should have received 2 billion gold according to the bet she made during the fight. Looking at this, everyone who took part in the bet started rumbling near the mansion as they asked him to return their principal too. Ian asked Miss Washwang if her way of forcing the king is the right way, but she was calm as she told Ian that the casino is the only main source of money for him and the emperor, so he will not break it so reluctantly. The king explained that he is not asking to cash out right now for Miss Washwang. He just needs a bit more time to raise the money as it is still in process. Miss Washwang asked him how many days it would take him to raise the entire amount of money. He told her that he would pay back all the gold to her Hu family within 3 days, and he thought to himself that he would not even let her and her siblings live for more than 3 days. Miss Washwang was satisfied with the time limit. She told the second prince that she would not disturb him as long as he paid the gold within 3 days. The second aunt had already cleaned and organized the storage room for gold as soon as she knew that it was coming. The moment she saw the gold, she hugged the gold crate and asked to take the gold back home. Miss Washwang reminded her that she threw her out of the mansion last time, so why is she here? She tried to convince Miss Washwang that she should forget all the things from the past and just focus on bringing the gold home. Miss Washwang cut the aunt in between and asked her, when did she say that she wants to bring all the gold back to the Hu mansion? Aunt was a bit shocked as she got to know that Miss Washwang wouldn't like to bring the gold back home. She inquired if Miss Washwang thought that she was not trustworthy enough. She tried to convince her that she was a family member and was not going to do any harm to her. Miss Washwang laughed as she heard her say that she was a family member, and she reminded her again that it was her second aunt who used to feed her medicine from a young age to make her fat, ugly, and weak. She betrayed Ian even more for money, making him dumb and disabled on the day of his duel. She sarcastically told her that she has been taking good care of Miss Washwang and her sibling Ian from a young age. Miss Washwang held her mouth and forcefully fed her a purple pill. She told her that this pill would help her reflect on the mistakes she has made in her life and all the demeaning she has done to Miss Washwang and Ian. When the pill started working on her, she automatically started slapping herself. The second aunt started panicking just a moment after the pill started working. As soon as she started getting injured, she pleaded on her knees. She told Miss Washwang that she was sorry and that she wouldn't do anything like that. She further told her that she would go away and did not need even a bit of the gold. 1 hour had already passed as Miss Washwang watched her aunt pay back her sin. Suddenly, she heard a voice from behind her. It was Maxwell. He told her that he had been watching the scene for a while and apologized for underestimating her and thinking that she couldn't protect herself from the bullies. Miss Wushwang flexed as she told him that she is no flower, and she doesn't like to depend on men to protect her. But she was even more surprised when Maxwell said that he also doesn't like little flowers these days and is into little wild cats. Miss Wushwang got awkward. She stopped Maxwell from saying anything more flirty with such a handsome and cold face as she flustered and her cheeks got red as a beetroot. Maxwell told her that he wants to give her a gift because he has started missing her, even though it has only been half a day since she left. One old man suddenly confronted her and passed her a bank card, which has been upgraded to purple because of the huge savings she has made. He also told her that the regent had sent 10 guards to escort the gold safely to the bank account. Everyone, including her auntie, was shocked as she listened to this because the purple card is only given to high-class people, and there are only 2 such cards in the land. Further, with a purple card for the Loyal Clouds Hall, one can get 50% off at the Golden Hall of the Immortal House and the Heaven Tower. Miss Wushwang was also unaware of the fact that Maxwell is the owner of the Loyal Clouds Hall, which is all over the land. Looking at all the gold getting deposited in her bank, the second prince exclaimed in his stumbling voice that all of this gold is his, but he got really scared when Maxwell gave him a look and threatened, leaving him speechless in fear. Maxwell told Miss Wushwang that the next time she wants to teach someone a lesson, she must take him with her, and he will quickly beat and clear up the situation. As the situation started to calm down, Miss Wushwang thought to herself that she owed Maxwell one more favor, and that she must find some way to pay him back. On the other side, Ian confronted Miss Wushwang and told her that he was thankful that she took revenge for her and promised that he would do anything to protect her from now on. Ian and Miss Wushwang were just about to leave, but suddenly Miss Wushwang felt the aura of some identity behind her. She was right, the gentleman and Jade's teacher she saw earlier had a different face hidden from everyone. Miss Wushwang somewhat recognized him from his blue eyes and nasty breath. It was the same guy who stole her space stone and ran away. She looked down on her as she said that she wasn't expecting a national teacher with a bright and misty appearance to turn out to be a shameless man who steals space stones, as she told him that she knows he stole her space stones. The man was rather rude. He told Miss Wushwang that he doesn't like women who are nosy like her, but was replied to by her. Miss Wushwang judged him over his hobby of locking up women and watching those who are nosy to him. The man asked her if she wanted to join the seat with him but was rejected by Miss Wushwang, as she pushed her back, making him fall back on the soft cart behind. 2 months ago, Miss Wushwang remembered how she was storming her brain over the stolen space stones in her private ring space that she had with her 2 spirits. She was really angry thinking about the space stone when one of the spirits gave her a book about poisons. She told her that the alchemists must never fear their strong opponents. Miss Wushwang started spending her time reading and gaining more knowledge about poisons and their ingredients. After countless experiments and consistent hard work, she was able to create a poison. In the present, she presented the man with her special self-made poison, which is colorless and tasteless and can take down strong men even in the spiritual realm, as she asked the man to return the space stone she stole. The man told her that he could not return the space stone as he had already used it. Now he could give himself instead of the stone. But Miss Wushwang called him a fake and rejected him to his face. The man was smart and rude with his words, as he called her eyes fake and told her to make a heart-to-heart connection with the arsonist of Heaven's continent. Miss Wushwang told him that he is toxic and that he will return to the West in a few days, so if he wants to detoxify himself, he must be obedient. The logic made sense to her as Miss Wushwang told her that she would give him a pill of medicine that would save him for the next 3 days. The man inquired what would happen after the 3 days but was a bit relieved when Miss Wushwang promised that she will completely detoxify him after 3 days. If he protects her and her siblings from any harm within these 3 days, she will also give him extra rewards. Miss Wushwang asked the man what his real name is, as she knows that Yanzhen is just a fake name he works under. But the man denied telling her anything and told her that he had no name and no surname. After reaching back to her home, Miss Wushwang got confronted by her aunt, who was angry with her disfigured face due to the pill Miss Wushwang forcefully fed her. Miss Wushwang was just telling her aunt that if she has so much time then she must take care of the affairs she is already part of. All the confusion just increased when her aunt's 2 daughters came near her in a hurry and informed her about the concubine. They told her that her husband gave her a concubine gift and that he took advantage of her. The second aunt was shocked by all this. She had no choice but to run back to her mansion to witness and take care of the issue, wondering who was the person who dared to enter the Hu mansion, ignoring her presence, and seduce her husband. Ian could figure out that this was all her sister's doing, as he conformed to his belief after asking her, as they started moving towards the theater to watch some drama, and Ian followed her. On the other side, Mu Yuan, uncle of Miss Wushwang, was enjoying his time with the concubine sent by her. The second aunt finally reached the mansion to witness the situation. She started shouting at the concubine the moment she saw her in his arms. The two twin sisters supported their mother as they protested that their mother had been taking care of his backyard for such a long time. Miley told him that she is in love with him and has fallen for him, and she should take the blame. Listening to her, Mu Yuheng melted and defended her from the second aunt, who was rushing towards her to beat her up. He told her that Miley is innocent, tender, and cute, and 100 times stronger than her. He further threatened her, saying that he would divorce the second aunt if she tried to hurt Miley anyway. Ian and Miss Wushwang were looking at all this drama from afar. Ian asked Miss Wushwang where she had found Miley in such a short time. Ian further observed that Miley is similar to her Aunt Wen, who was pushed out for crime. Miley is the same little concubine of the Hu mansion who was forced out to die by Mu Yuan. Miss Wushwang explained with her sneaky face that men are known for their cold-blooded nature, but they have a side that is affectionate and innocent. Miss Wushwang asked Ian to follow her to the Jiangjai to watch some cool drama. The moment Miss Wushwang entered the mansion, her twin sister instantly alerted Mu Yuan, who was busy beating up her mother. She told Miss Wushwang that she was not allowed to enter her mansion, but she didn't care much about what she said and told her that she could go anywhere in the mansion and no one could stop her. Mu Yuan confronted Miss Wushwang, telling her that her father left her 10 years ago when he found her mother, and he has been taking care of her since her childhood. He has always been the housekeeper, and as she is young, she should not think much about the big business or work hard. He also mentioned that he will make one of the servants clean her room so she can easily spend her days here and live well, forgetting about the past sibling rivalries and conflicts. Mu Yuan was trying his best not to show all the greed in his mind and his craving to get the money Miss Wushwang earned. Ian rudely replied to Yuan and even called him by his name, which made him furious as he was not expecting Ian to reply like that. He stepped forward to attack Ian in his anger as he cursed him and told Miss that she has not given any kind of manners to her little brother, but his hand was held back by Miss Wushwang. Miss Wushwang pushed his hand backward as he pleaded in pain. She asked him what qualifications he has to even try to discipline her brother. She further demeaned him by saying that he is the same person who was not able to even give a few manners to his daughters and brought evil wives to brutalize the clan. She further insulted him by saying that the ancestors would be ashamed if they saw him destroying the clan like that. The second aunt couldn't take such an insult. She swung a wooden bat, aiming at her. Miss Wushwang could easily dodge such a lame attack. She intentionally dodged it in such a way that the wooden bat directed at Mu Yuan hit him. He fell to the ground as blood oozed out of his still body. Miss Wushwang wasn't much affected by the event. She bid farewell and, before leaving, warned the whole family. She told them that he should not believe in the cheap world generation and that it's easy to just bully anyone casually. She announced that from now on, no one should dare think of doing any harm to her, her family, or her close friends. And even if someone tries to even touch her family, she will cast off their hands, and the ones who look at her lightly will lose their eyeballs. Miss Wushwang then left the area after saying such scary and threatening words to the Mu family and Mu Yuan's still body. Before leaving the mansion, Miss Wushwang also told them to return to their original small house with the stick of incense. One of the sisters quickly exclaimed, "How will she move from such a huge mansion to a stick of incense?" But Miss Wushwang didn't care about it at all. She simply told her that she would have to leave eventually. The whole Mu family held a stronger grudge against Miss Wushwang, including the two twin sisters, who promised themselves that they would make her pay for what she had done to them. At night, a group of assassins sneaked into the Mu Wushwang courtyard. The second prince sent them to assassinate Mu Wushwang. The 7 assassins who claimed to be the strongest assassins were killed in a split second of time by Qingmeng Longyi, and he informed the man Miss Wushwang hired about the massive amount of money the second prince paid to the Keisha organization, which is known as the #1 assassin organization. He told Longyi to be quiet and not to disturb Miss Wushwang, as she is a very important person to him. The next day, Miss Wushwang asked Ian about last night and if he felt any movements in the night, but he didn't. Miss Wushwang was really impressed with the work of the nameless security team and praised him for working so silently and from the shadows. The spirits from Miss Wushwang's bracelet came out and informed her that the space had absorbed all the space stones and the upgrade was successful. Miss Wushwang immediately went to the Ben Kui space in her bracelet as she looked at the huge luxury villa, which was upgraded using the space stones from the small Ched house. The spirit also told her that after the upgrade, the medicinal fields are way more fertile, and the maturity periods of the herbs have also directly shortened by half. The spirit next presented Miss Wushwang with a small herb in the water called the Spring of Linquin, which is flexible. The spirit informed Miss Wushwang that there are only 3 spring spirits in the world yet. The ability of this herb is that every morning the heart of the bamboo condenses into a drop of spring dew on the leaves, and just 1 drop of this spring dew can reward a person with eternal youth. The abilities of the spirit of the space have also been upgraded. Now they have the ability to predict the future. The spirits got really emotional and moved when Miss Wushwang asked them if there is any harmful risk when they use this ability. They got emotional because even though they have served so many masters since birth, none of them cared about their lives. The spirit predicted that after 10 days a god will appear in the Sunset Mountains. Miss Wushwang wondered that if some magical medicine existed, it would help in eradicating the toxins in the emperor's body, and even if it did not, Miss Wushwang could use these fetishes to increase her strength and go to the high order continent as soon as possible. The following day, Miss Wushwang woke up in the Hu mansion. It had been just a few days, and she had broken through the 6th stage of the spiritual apprentice realm. The messenger informed Miss Wushwang that an imperial decree has arrived from the palace and the emperor has invited Miss Wushwang to enter the palace and admire the flowers after morning. Miss Wushwang understood what underhanded trick the palace is trying to play with her, just because she won 2 billion taels of gold on the front foot of the second prince. So he invited her to the palace to enjoy the flowers on the back foot. In the palace conference hall, the discussion was about to end when Maxwell announced that he was to tell something to the emperor. Maxwell brought the deed of the second prince under the emperor's notice. He accused the second prince of being timid and trying to assassinate his fiancée, Miss Wushwang, and it's possible that he will next plan to assassinate Maxwell himself. The emperor and the second prince were shocked to know this. They were not expecting Maxwell to know about it as they made sure to keep it quiet. Maxwell further told the emperor that the second prince held a grudge against his fiancée and dared to hire a group of assassins to kill him. Although all of this was happening in the background, the second prince made a small mistake, but he just paid the deposit and returned to the mansion, leaving the evidence the handler had drawn, which was later sent to Maxwell's case. The emperor was speechless in this situation. He tried to convince Maxwell that there must be some kind of misunderstanding and that, other than the fact that his marriage to Mu Wushwang was just a joke from the emperor, why is he bothering to take the case so seriously? Maxwell was not ready to understand, as he believed that his marriage was not a joke and he took the matter seriously. The emperor couldn't do anything now. There was no way he could stop protecting his second brother because of how useless and hopeless he can be. And Long Moshin still has his troops of 600,000 in his hands. The emperor announced with authority that the second brother, who is a member of the royal family, was trying to pay assassins and planning a murder, which was an evil deed, and he must be sent to jail. Maxwell stopped the guards who were taking the second prince to jail, and announced loudly in the court that those who tried to offend him would be dealt with by him alone, and that the palace did not need to deal with them by itself. The messenger informed the emperor silently that Long Moshin has arrived. The moment the emperor heard this news, an evil smile covered his face. He stood up and asked Maxwell if he would like to accompany him to the royal garden for a while. Maxwell wondered if everything was fine and why the emperor would ask him to accompany him. The emperor and Maxwell reached the beautiful imperial garden in the imperial palace, where flowers and butterflies were everywhere to be seen. Miss Wushwang was sitting at the center table, eating some snacks and praising the beauty of the garden. The moment Miss Wushwang took her first bite, the evil smile of the emperor returned to his face. He mixed poison in the food he presented to her, a poison that is so strong that it can kill you with just the mere taste of it. The poison started affecting Miss Wushwang as she fell into the arms of Maxwell. The emperor started laughing as he saw Maxwell panicking. He told Maxwell that this is the price he has to pay for his disobedient behavior. Maxwell started going berserk. He called the emperor by his name and told him that he had crossed his line, as Maxwell used his spiritual power and started choking the emperor. He told the emperor that he is the reason why the emperor's family is in their position, and he can easily kill him and support some other family to become the emperor. Suddenly Miss Wushwang started laughing at the emperor. She stood up from Maxwell's lap. Both Maxwell and the emperor were shocked to see that she woke up even though she had taken some of the poison. When Miss Wushwang reached the emperor, who was scared to death. She told him that he was no match for her and warned him that the next time he tries to do something like this or even think of harming her or her brother, she will kill him like a dog. The emperor passed away from fear the moment Maxwell and Miss Wushwang left the palace. As both of them sat in the wagon on their way to their mansion, Maxwell asked Miss Wushwang how she was able to wake up even though she was poisoned. Miss Wushwang explained that she already knew that the emperor would try to harm her through his own means, so she took antitoxin pills by herself. She told Maxwell that she would never try to risk her life like that if she had no idea how to do it. Suddenly, Miss Wushwang was shocked as she sensed the number of poisons in Maxwell's body. She asked why there were more than 20 kinds of poison in his body. Maxwell corrected that there were 21 poisons in his body, even though the dragon asked him not to reveal such important information to her. In addition to all this, all 21 poisons are rare and virulent. Miss Wushwang told Maxwell that she will protect him in the same way he has protected him until now, and except for 3 of the poisons, she can cure the ones left in his body. The dragon laughed at her, as he was confident that she must brag. Not even the top doctors in the world were able to do anything for Maxwell. Miss Wushwang gave him a pill that will help him stabilize the nimbus in his body, and will help him relieve the 18 poisons later. After continuous denial by the dragon, Maxwell didn't listen to him and trusted Miss Wushwang by taking her pill. Later, Miss Wushwang collected a bit of his blood, which was the poison in his body. She informed Maxwell that she had eliminated the blood, which was toxic, and that only the eroding and burning poison in his spinal nerve were left. She also told him that he would be able to walk again in 3-4 days while she acupunctured her too. She again reminded her that she is not the same person now, and that she will protect him now just like he has been doing for her since. Maxwell was really happy by this news. He couldn't control his urge and hugged Miss Wushwang suddenly. He confessed to her that he has fallen in love with her, and Miss Wushwang was completely taken aback by the scene, and she couldn't push him back. Maxwell affectionately called her name and told her that he wanted Miss Wushwang to be his wife and asked her if she would like to be his wife. Unexpectedly, Miss Wushwang turned his offer down and told her honestly that she was only with her to gain his protection for her and Ian. She also told him she was materialistic and wanted to stay close to him just for his wealth and power. Even though it was supposed to be offensive to Maxwell, it didn't hurt him. Instead, he asked her to marry him for his wealth and power only. Miss Wushwang made another excuse as she told him that he likes her to be fat and chubby, and now that she has lost all her chubbiness and fat, wouldn't he mind it? But Maxwell acted smart with his words as he told her that it is her soul he has fallen for and that she is the only one he loves. Miss Wushwang was still not convinced. She appreciated Maxwell for being honest with her and expressing his love, but she wouldn't force herself. She assured him that once she gets the resources back from the Mu family, she will return to that palace and he will stop bothering her. After Miss Wushwang left the mansion, Maxwell called a servant and asked him what kinds of sources were available in the market that would help him learn how to be in a relationship. The servant told him that people read romantic novels. Listening to this, Maxwell ordered him to search the whole market and find any such novel, and bring it to him by tomorrow in his study. As soon as the novels reached his study, he started reading them and also started making notes from them. The dragon was able to easily notice such an evident change in his master that he tried to tell him that he has changed and has stopped attending to the actual duties that are his responsibility. The dragon tried his best to convince Maxwell that he must not fall for a woman like this and that she is just a lowly girl in front of him, and he reminded him that the only reason he took her in was to avoid the doom in his future. Maxwell got a bit angry as he heard the dragon call Miss Wushwang lowly, but he continued reading his book and ignoring him. On the other side, Miss Wushwang was sitting in the marquee mansion as she wondered if there would be many people when the divine thing appears in the Sunset Mountains according to the prediction made by the spirits. One of the servants informed Miss Wushwang that the Crown Prince, Song, has arrived and wants to invite her to the event organized by the conquering men on the Sunset Hill in a secret trial area. Miss Wushwang was really happy as she herself wanted to go to the Sunset Hotel for business. Before Miss Wushwang could reply to the second, another one appeared in front of her, representing Maxwell. He informed her that Maxwell wants to meet her over some important business and needs her urgently. Miss Wushwang asked Prince Song's messenger to tell him that she is busy right now but that she will free her time in the evening so that both of them can drink. Maxwell was sitting below the beautiful peach tree, waiting for Miss Wushwang to arrive. Miss Wusheng asked if there was something urgent he wanted to discuss, and Maxwell asked Miss Wushwang to just watch what happened next. The guards brought Miss Liu in front of them and presented her to Maxwell. Miss Liu started pleading in front of Maxwell. She asked if she had done something wrong as she was behaving herself after the last time Maxwell criticized her for her actions. She requested that we let her just stay around Maxwell, and she doesn't crave anything other than that. Maxwell paid no attention to what she said and asked the guards to just throw her out. Before the guards could get a hold of her, Gil Liu came forward to defend her, saying that she loves Maxwell and he should not act so mean to her just because of Miss Wushwang. But all of this backfired on him as Maxwell ordered the guards to throw both of them out. Miss Wushwang asked Maxwell if that was the urgent work he needed to discuss with her. Maxwell said yes and said that it was urgent for him to tell Miss Wushwang that she is the only one he thinks about and is in love with. He also promised that she is the only woman around him in the mansion, and there won't be anyone else beside her so that she can rest assured and feel relieved. Such a situation was a bit unexpected even for Miss Wushwang. She wasn't expecting Maxwell to suddenly start using such corny words, and she also was a bit surprised to see Maxwell go to such heights and throw out all the women around him just for her. This was actually the reason that Miss Wushwang is worried that Maxwell will not go to such lengths for her and have fun, and that she is not in the mood for such cliches. She was just about to leave when Maxwell held her hand from the back. He requested that Miss Wushwang check up on his health as he had not been feeling well at all since the last night. Miss Wushwang accepted to check on him as both of them headed to the bedroom. Miss Wushwang began her acupuncture as Maxwell sat down shirtless in front of her. While all of this was going on, Maxwell suddenly asked Miss Wushwang to check out the fabric and feel it too. Miss Wushwang was easily able to recognize the piece of cloth. She knew that it was golden scale silk fabric. It is a special type of fabric that is worth tens of thousands of golden taels. She wondered if Maxwell was trying to flaunt his money in front of her, but he is not the type of person who would flaunt his money. Is the fabric somehow related to poisons or something else? Maxwell used the punchline, as he said that the fabric is made of husband material, expecting to turn on Miss Wushwang. But it was of no use. Instead, the lame punchline he used on her turned her off more as she cringed at it. In order to avoid such a weird and awkward situation, she started leaving Maxwell, saying that she must leave to attend the date she has that night. Maxwell inquired if it was Ivan Song, the person who is going on the date with her. Miss Wushwang asserted yes as she wondered how Maxwell would know about her date, which was just scheduled before she arrived here. What shocked her more was the unexpected news Maxwell gave her. He told her that she doesn't need to leave the mansion to meet him as he has already invited him over to the mansion as he also wanted to meet Ivan Song along with her. After a few minutes, Ivan Song arrived, and all three of them sat together to start drinking in the Marquis mansion. Maxwell told Ivan that he is sitting with him and Miss Wushwang as he doesn't trust an ill-disposed man drinking with his wife. Maxwell asked him to get comfortable, but his inner self was not holding back at all and making him look down and was not ready to put his guard down against him even for a split second. Ivan Song presented Miss Wushwang with the special imperial drink he brought from his country just for her and their date. He further mentions that this drink he has brought is really expensive, and the price of Xiaoyu dynasty may not have it, referring directly to Maxwell. Maxwell instantly threw a counter reply to him as he said that the drink is so ordinary that he would not space out his warehouse over such a petty drink, and his fiancée deserves something way more valuable than this drink. Miss Wushwang was now fed up with both of them fighting each other indirectly for her. To move on, Miss Wushwang changed the topic of the conversation and asked Ivan about the divine thing in the Sunset Mountains. He told Miss Wushwang that the conquering men in his country have been organizing a trial in the secret area in the Sunset Mountains. He also mentioned that he has reserved places for her and Ian, so Miss Wushwang can come if she wants. Ivan mentions that the event is the day after tomorrow and that it will last a month. He further tells her that her brother Ian will benefit from the fantastic people who will also be attending the events. Ivan knew that Miss Wushwang would accept his invitation if it was for her brother's development. As expected, Miss Wushwang thought for some time and accepted the invitation. Ivan asked her to meet him at the East Gate at 7 o'clock the day after tomorrow. He wondered if Miss Wushwang will fall in love with him as she will be alone with him, and then he will just marry her. Ivan gave Maxwell a sarcastic glare and left the mansion as he bid farewell to both of them happily. Maxwell was really unhappy to see all this happening to him, and Miss Wushwang could easily sense the tension. As she approached Maxwell and took a step towards him, he caught her in his arms and asked her if she really wanted to leave him and go to the Sunset Mountains. Miss Wushwang explained that she must go to the mountains because it is really important to her and she must go. Maxwell flirted a bit with her, which made her fluster really hard. But he took control of himself and told her that it was really dark and she must go home, and he would send someone to escort her back to her home. Miss Woosenag realized that even though Maxwell Long is possessive, he won't restrict her from doing the tasks she wants to, which is a good sign. Suddenly a woman confounded her as she asked if she was again in the regent's mansion. She further mentioned that the regent is deluded by Miss Wushwang, and she will eventually have to pay for it. She also mentioned that her teacher will be arriving here in some time from the Conquering Men, and Miss Wushwang will just be a bug to her once the teacher comes. Suddenly, from behind an old man came out. It was Bowen Mu, the Marquis. He is the grandfather of Miss Wushwang and a bold general as well as a huge national leader. He unfortunately got framed by the bad people, and people started thinking that he was dead. Miss Wushwang was really shocked to see her grandfather there. Grandfather was about to get angry with the woman because she called Miss Wushwang a bug, but she told him that she does not care what the woman says. Grandfather praised Miss Wushwang for her calm and mature mind and asked the servants to treat the woman with 30 whippings according to domestic discipline. He also asked Miss Wushwang to go in her room for now as it was already really dark and meet him in the morning the following day. The next morning, when Miss Wushwang and Ian entered grandfather's room, he could see his son's afterimage in Ian and also mentioned that Miss Wushwang is also a bit like her mother. Grandfather told both of his grandchildren a secret he hadn't told anyone yet, but now they must know it as they are old enough. He told them that he has been trying to find their parents for some time now. Ian was a bit shocked to hear that, as he used to think that his parents were already dead. Miss Wushwang recalled that, according to what she remembers, her parents went out for a trial but never came back. People told her that beasts ate them and no remains of them were left. Grandfather continued with his explanation as he said that he found a space lift near the place where they disappeared, hinting at the chance of them going to some other land by the lift. Ian couldn't stop his tears of happiness as he asked if he could actually meet his parents in the future. Grandfather replied to his innocent question by saying that it is evident that Ian can meet his parents in the future, but he is too old to enter the senior state of the spirit, and therefore is unable to go to the other lands. However, Ian and Miss Wushwang are really young and also talented, so they must not give up and they will see their parents one day. He also reminded them their parents had left them jade pendants, as he gave one to each of them. Miss Wushwang asked her grandfather out of curiosity how her parents are as she couldn't remember a thing. Grandfather started telling both of them their stories, like how once Miss Wushwang's father came to his father after a trial with a woman and requested to marry her. At first, grandfather was totally against it as Miss Wushwang's mother, Bella, was of unknown origins and her father, Ivan, had great sword talent within him. But after a lot of conflicts, he agreed to it and Miss Wushwang came into existence. After that unfortunate day, assassins sneaked inside the house, and to protect Miss Wushwang, both her parents diverted them to a different location, leaving both of their children in their grandfather's hands. They never came back after that, and grandfather had to leave the mansion in order to find them. Ian relieved grandfather of his duty and took the responsibility of finding them. Later, the two spirits told her that the Jade Stone is a high-order storage device that is even capable of storing humans. Miss Wushwang calmed herself down as she continued to focus on the upcoming trial at the Sunset Mountain. With this, its fourth part ends here. So if you like the video, then hit that like button and leave a comment for the next part. Most important, subscribe and press the bell icon for notification. I will meet you in the new video. Till then, bye.